Hello friends, welcome to another episode of Sailor Today TV, your unmissable dose of vitamin C. Today we bring you an exclusive report from Dubai. UAE, as we see, is on its way to become the most important maritime hub by 2020. Dubai was the city chosen to host a knowledge sharing session by IMAREST UAE branch, supported by our very own KVH Vidyotel, on the subject of groundbreaking multi-channel connectivity, meeting the demands of the modern day ship manager through innovation. A means of survival for companies in maritime world today, the digital age is also driving a new chapter in ship communications and service. Keynote presentation was given by Mr. Rob Parkin, Maritime Sales Director KVH, while Captain Milind Kharkhanis, Sales Director Middle East, delivered the closing remarks and a vote of thanks. Let's take a look.
Today, ship owners and managers are navigating in a changing operating environment. On the one hand, there are changing regulations which compel ships to be environmentally compliant, while on the other, there are new technologies and innovations which enable ships to address regulatory issues, to optimize ship operations, which ultimately leads to a reduction in costs and operating costs. So what we have these days, an example is up there on the slide. Onboard sensors collect data and send it ashore for analysis, and thereby ships optimize their operations. Now, of course, you can't manage what you don't.
Groundbreaking multi-channel connectivity. Wow. And to sort of summarize that, meeting the demands of modern day ship manager through innovation. Really, this is a chance for us to maybe stimulate the mind, share some experience with one another, and just think about where we are, where we've been, and where we're going. With me, I'm very honoured really to be spending time with my colleague Captain Milind Kharkhanis. He will say some words later, I believe, Milind. I look forward to that. And Milind and I and the team, we work very closely. But Milind's based here. So I come in and I disappear, but Milind is our local gentleman looking after our concerns, and really is an open door. He wants to meet people. He wants to talk about content requirements, whether that's from a training need. Of course we're a vendor. It is a competitive market, but let's put that aside a little bit. This is a bigger thing. Of our work is on the mobile broadband service solution to remote locations. And when we say remote, really, that's primarily maritime. Okay? And currently we supply high-speed internet, television and phone communication. Matter. And that's at sea. On land, we have all the other carriers. It's all about airtime. But when you have airtime, you also need equipment. It's very important. We have the airtime, but we need generic word, isn't it? Content. I like the word content. And content, what can that be? That can make it as a wonderful link in there, Nikhil, with talking about sensors on ships. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And that's a very, very good phrase. And we're entering that world now where big data is another popular vernacular phrase. Big data. What is connectivity at sea like? Now, let's just put some numbers against it. So, Inmarsat, Marlink, ourselves, Rignet, Speedcast, Iridium. We are suppliers of connectivity. And currently, this is a recent piece of observation, if you will, from Euroconsult, and looking at the state of play at the end of December last year, and it shows the number of units of VSAT antennas, VSAT, very small aperture terminals for broadband connectivity at sea. Now, if we work, let's just accept, unless someone corrects me, please do. I'm working at around 65 to 70,000 deep sea vessels currently the market. Now that figure can vary, right? But let's just take that. So actually, there's 23,000 VSAT units in the market. That's remarkable. So we are going to the digital broader band experience. We have shifted more pressure. You know, it's not like the good old days. You know, there's more pressure on an IT department to deliver more with less resource. You know, this whole notion we have remote locations where you can't have connectivity. Okay, so high-speed channel, and currently we're dealing with speeds of 10 megabits per second, 3 megabits per second from the vessel to shore, 10 down. Unlimited channel, this wonderful phrase unlimited, it's important. A lot of the market at the moment, and certainly in this area, and I think other key shipping areas, hubs, unlimited is the service of choice, because what it allows the customer, the ship manager, or the owner, have a fixed price and we have a bandwidth and we can use it as much as we want. Well, within reason, we come to that, yeah? We realise that not all data is the same, so we not only provide high speed and unlimited, but we try and provide another channel that just sends data. What's that data? It's the big data, it's the videos, it's the news, it's the music, it's the sports, and we actually broadcast to everyone on our network. So hilariously, a lot of our clients don't know they've got that channel unless they activate the subscription. But hurry up, I want dinner, I want a drink, right? But you know, I'll be quite interested. Maybe dare I throw a few questions at you guys? I'll be very interested to hear if, and you know, from all of you.
Sir, one question.
Yeah, please. Oh, straight
you
in.
mentioned about 20,000 vessels.
Yes.
But as per the Lloyd's list, there are only 18,000 vessels which are registered with the Lloyd's. So how do you come to the 20,000 vessels?
The 23,000, yeah. That's based on a Euroconsult. They're a market analysis company, so it's neutral. It's independent. I'll be quite honest with you. I mean, I can't defend. I don't know their research. It's based on market evaluations. But I think if it's 1823, I think between us, I mean, as I say, it's an indicator. If we could split the difference, say 20,000. The idea that there's 20,000 vessels using VSAT to some description, a bigger broadband, if you will, is still it's an interesting tale, isn't it? Because what about the other 50,000 vessels? You know, I think I've been quite generous in stating 500 megabytes of data per individual per month for a crew member. That's quite a lot. Would people say I'm being generous, Sarah, or would you say, no, hey, our guys, hey, they're using gigabytes. Or actually, hey, we only get, you know, the crew don't have internet, they don't have email. The company we started, actually, we developed the first digital compass. So our journey started with a gyroscope, and then we applied that to fiber optic gyros and then antennas, stabilized antennas. KVH stands for Kits Van Heiningen.
Can you repeat please?
Kits Van Heiningen. What is that? Well, it's not what answer. Who is that? I asked the same question when my company was acquired by KVH 5 years ago, and I asked the chief executive officer, Martin.
But anyway, do you view Elon Musk as a threat or an opportunity?
Good question. That's a great question. Well, Elon Musk, I don't know Elon Musk. I probably expect Martin KVH might do. He used to know Steve Jobs. So, no, I think recent stories, and you know, there's always this thing where an entrepreneur. I mean, let's not forget, Mr. Musk started with PayPal. You know, that's where he made his equity. As I say, I can only ruminate. It's certainly a high-tech company, and you're seeing a lot more of these high-tech companies. You know, the whole idea of privatization.
Things are getting clearer, but again they're getting more difficult and tough. I think last 2 days we had this conference in our office to settle it out. I think because now we go on a bridge, it's basically too much of electronics. You go on the Monkey Island earlier days, there's lots of electronics now. And the more bigger problem is the communication that goes in and out from the vessel. If the IT is down, the vessel cannot sail now. It's become such a difficult. Especially working in the US Coast Guards and all that area, it has become like a rocket now. because the information that is going to too many stations and people manning 3 officers are manning a vessel. Like the answer to your question is basically unmanned will be a trial basically. It's only an experiment of mankind, science to try out a vessel. But running it unmanned, I don't see that it will be a negative, but will be an approach only technology wise, I think. It's not a win situation. We have manned vessels, we are facing it very difficult to run the manned vessel with the highest competent officers. So if I say it's unmanned, engine rooms are all unmanned now today, but we are still struggling on engines to be manned. Okay? Second point, navigation has become very difficult now. With the vessels operating so many around it, satellite communication, the same guy is operating a vessel, same guy has to see the chart, same guy has to see the communication set. So one man can do how many jobs? Tell me. The answer is very simple. One person, officer of the watch, and one AV can see how many equipments at one point of time. That's an answer, I think, untold, and hope for next day.
Yeah, you're pointing there's an essential role, the human element, if you will, and I agree. I think, you know, we are still a long way away from the complete autonomous civilization, but I do think it points to how we're, you know, the overburden of sea staff. I think we touched on that a little bit. You know, it's not like one job, one duty. You've got to do in a shorter time more jobs. That's a very serious thing. So I think there's an opportunity to embrace it, technology to help. I agree with you completely. But you know, we need to, this is back to the big dialogue debate. I think it's so important. Your voice, your experience, your wisdom is going to help shape what happens. You know, we are here, you know, this is an engineering gathering of minds. We have a voice, and it's important we get that voice heard with the right people. A very good point, sir.
Thank you.
Right, well, I should pass back to Nikhil.
We also had an opportunity to meet and speak with some of the stakeholders in Dubai. Welcome to Sailor Today TV, sir. So what's new? What do we have Alphard Group doing in Dubai? I believe there are some projects that you are working on.
We are working on, here we have just finished one LNG development in Bahrain, and after this we are heading to India. Some big projects are coming up, like one new LNG port is coming up by Saporji Paloji. We have already got the contract for about 4 million tons of rock.
Of rock, to supply rock.
Rock from Oman to India.
Oman to India for building up that port.
Breakwater.
To making the breakwater.
About 4 million tons. Then some very, very prestigious projects coming up, like Shivaji statue in Mumbai.
Okay.
Then you have Indian.
It is Modi Saab's pet project.
Yes, that is L&T now.
L&T, okay.
After that, Maharashtra Trans Harbour Link has come in. That is L&T. We doing with IHI. Then Tata is doing with Daewoo. We're working on those projects. There are some more defense projects coming in. So We, as you know, moved from India to Singapore, Dubai, and now we are heading back to
back to India because things are hotting up.
Yes.
As you say, things are hotting up in India. So India has been economically.
Lot of
I mean,
development is happening after the Sagarmala thing. A lot of ports are coming up. Marine infrastructure building up is coming up. So development. Now in Maharashtra also something called coastal protection. So government is doing some research on that. Once that happens, again there will be a lot of job for marine coastal protection.
Okay.
Coastal area.
Okay. And what about from offshore point of view here? Basically, when you came to Singapore, to Dubai, is you concentrated on offshore and ship owning. Yeah.
Yes, basically we are owning ships. Although these vessels are offshore standard, but you know offshore market has gone down for last few years. So we are using it for in the construction industry, like port development and all. So we have big barges, and those tugs are towing the barge for construction.
Construction purposes.
Like we are doing cement, clinker, steel, aggregate, rocks, boulders, all construction material we are supplying.
So those 36 vessels that you have that are all being managed and
Locally from-
operations from Dubai.
Our technical team is sitting in Russell Kim office. The repair team sits in Sharjah, and then we have our own dry dock facility in Bombay Time City. So all these people are there. This office we are more of a corporate team, where we sit and other MDs and CFO, these people are sitting.
Great. I believe you have a flight to catch. So
Thank you very much.
thank you so much. Thank you for talking to Sailor Today TV. Thank you. So welcome to Sailor Today TV. To start with, sir, if you can just introduce yourself and then you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, we are here last 11 years and doing the commercial shipping and trading, oil, gas and cement, manganese ore, all the products. We do the logistic and do the self-trading as well. So our motive is to give a better and the competitive price to our traders and to grab the market accordingly. So and we have many type of carriers. We have gas carriers, we have oil tankers, we have bulk carriers, we have chemical tankers. And this is what we have a expertise in the only commercial shipping. So that's what we grown and we are continuing growing it.
So how long this has been?
I was with
operation?
SCA, Shipping Corporation of India in Mumbai. In 2011, I moved out from SCA and came to Dubai. Since then, I am here in Dubai. And we are only doing commercial activities that is related to chartering. And from there, we started into trading also. It's like, entered into trading.
Trading also.
Trading, yes.
That's for how long now?
Trading, we are on and off. We were doing the trading for some time, but now we have a team dedicated for trading. Now, since October onwards, we are into, you can say, full scene into trading also.
Particular products or particular?
We were earlier
commodities
doing
or-
the petroleum and gas.
Petroleum and gas.
Only. But now we have entered into commodities like cement, clinker. We have done under our name. We have done. 2 shipments have gone to east coast of India. Paradip and Haldia.
Manganese ore
Manganese ore we have done.
Manganese ore
from
you have done.
Ivory Coast.
From Ivory Coast.
And of course fuel oil, gas oil, naphtha, white spirit, bitumen and all. These have been going on for some time.
So how does the future look like?
Future is always bright. If your concepts are very clear, the markets are very volatile in Dubai, but we feel that some changes will come in shipping very soon. I think 2019 onwards, the market will go up.
2019 is what you predict that
Yeah,
it will go up.
it will go up. More
And
shipping.
it's already stabilized or?
No, not yet.
Not
Not yet. Because of the crude prices and some political games are there. Because of that, the prices are not stabilized. But yes, in 2019, a lot of new vessels are coming in the market. MRs, gas carriers, and dry vessels also coming. That will for sure it will take up the market. The old vessels will go for scrap. This will be 2019 to 21 will be the scrap vessel market will go very high.
Very high.
For sure. That is the scenario which we can observe right now.
Great. Captain, would you like to add?
From our own experience, we feel that the bottom out is already over now. Even from the dry side as well as for the tanker side, the good days are coming here now.
Good days.
Yeah.
All right, great. So we have some positive news at the start of our trip, meeting here in Dubai. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Start with, if you could please introduce what does Emirat do and.
Okay, Emirat was first set up in 1990 as a joint venture. The company was fully owned by the current owners.
Joint venture between?
Between the Sharaf Group and Azov Shipping Company of former Soviet Union.
Okay.
So this was part of the old Glasnost and Perestroika schemes that President Gorbachev had introduced. And thereafter, of course, our initial focus was on twin deckers. We got in the ships, some of them from Azov, older units which we purchased from them into the joint venture. Upgraded the ships, and we were trading them between the subcontinent and the Middle East, Southeast Asia, carrying primarily agri products, which was in great demand those days. It used to move in great bulk. Subsequently, of course, this cargo, particularly rice, started to get containerized, and therefore we started to move out of the twin decker markets, and in 2000 entered the dry bulk trades by picking up our first Handymax bulk carriers. And that's the time when the company was fully owned by the group and set up as Emirat Maritime.
So coming to current scenario.
Yeah. Coming to the current scenario, in 2006 we entered the tanker markets, buying our first tanker, and then of course between 2003 and 2010 we had a fairly aggressive new building program. We got rid of all the old ships. We currently operate 11 vessels.
11 vessels. That's post 2010.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, we had since 2010 we've sold about four or five vessels. So, but it's down now to 11. That's the current fleet. 6 tankers, 5 Supramax, Handymax. Sorry, Ultramax.
Ultramax. Okay. Okay. So what does the future looks like?
The future is, I think, our strategy is going to be to wait and watch, because we see a major change.
You said your strategy right now is going to be wait and watch.
Yes.
Keeping the current scenario in mind.
Keeping the current scenario in mind, because we see a major shift in shipping dynamics.
Okay.
Changes in trade patterns. You've seen already a major shift in the movement of oil going forward. As you can see, US has now become a major exporter. Used to be one of the largest importers of crude.
Yeah.
They're now perhaps the largest exporter of crude.
Yeah.
So there are major changes taking place, which I think only time will be able to crystallize, and you'll be able to understand how trade is going to the direction that it will take. Yeah. So our strategy is currently wait and watch, because again, the other thing that one has to bear in mind is the sizes that the ship sizes that you have today need not necessarily be the sizes that will be in demand in the future.
Okay.
And I can give you an example of the Panamax. The Panamax sizes were primarily that was the optimum size that could transit the Panama Canal. Today, those restrictions do not hold good. So for a trader, if he has a vessel, say loading grain in South America, he would much rather go for economy of scale. A larger vessel, shallow drafted, capable of transiting the new Panama Canal, that would make better sense for him. So I think in time we're going to see that shift, and these kind of vessels will probably lose the importance that they have today. So one has to wait and see how all this evolves. The other thing that we have to watch out for is all these new regulations that are coming up. What we have today with the global sulfur cap, ballast water treatment, tier 3, now tier 4. This is not going to be the end of it. It's going to continue. And,
adding on.
And so one, again, you have to get a grip on what really is going to come in, because today if you go in for a vessel, anything that you order today has got to be tier 3. Now if 5 years down the line they're going to insist on tier 4, there's no point in ordering a ship today. So that's something that one has to
do. So that again comes down to your buzzword that you are saying, wait and watch. So thank you so much for talking to Sailor Today TV. So I want to Captain Misra here, who is the Managing Director, Emirat Maritime. He is of the opinion that the buzzword that needs to be followed is wait and watch.
My point is that there is a huge disconnect between understanding of the shipping, but in my view, I might be wrong, but between what shipping is today, from the shore perspective and the people who are sailing. As I said, the sailing staff is still, their questions are limited to who is giving what salary, what is the contract period, and whereas the shipping is much more than that. How much does it take to run a ship per day? How much the ships are earning? That disconnect is there. More importantly, the seafarers of today, they should know why they are preferred to, be on board today. This is because our seniors have worked very hard. If I am sitting here today, it's because my seniors have worked very hard.
Indian seafarers.
They have worked very hard to make Indian seafarer as a brand.
The world shipping realized that Indians are capable of taking over from, say, Britishers or any other nationality.
So gradually, Indians started sailing as a ratings. They went as a junior officers. I remember when I started sailing, that time most of the foreign companies or so-called oil major companies, they used to have British masters, chief engineers, and then they will have only junior officers in India. For them to become masters was today, gradually, when there was no junior officers coming in, obviously there were no masters, so Indian replaced as masters. Gradually the Indians replaced them in the office. Today I think there's hardly any shipping company where Indians are not there, especially in the tanker industry. So we Indians have taken over from the ratings to the officers to the offices today. But today, if the juniors don't prove themselves, obviously we are going to be replaced by others, which gradually is happening. We have overpriced ourselves. We don't understand certain aspects of shipping in a very comprehensive way. So
somebody else will come. Gradually, the shipping, it's like a phase. Yesterday it was on the Europeans, today it's on the Indians, tomorrow it may be somebody else. So it's very important for the seafarers of today to realize that they have to understand the shipping, and it's probably our duty also to make them understand that part. Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity. It's nice seeing you here. Welcome to Dubai. And to start with, I had started my shipping career in '79 with the training ship Rajendra. Thereafter, a few years with SCI, and all the way through with Barbers and ITM. Before I set up this present organization, Pisces Vessel Consultants, in 2013. Since then, we are totally involved in this. We are into post-fixture operations, commercial management, primarily of tankers and bulk carriers. And we are also doing the second segment of our business as audits, surveys, and navigation audits. And we are also into chartering and broking for major owners based in India and the Far East. And this market here, we've been seeing it's a little slow down since last 3 to 4 years, but as the projection is, it is going to go up in the third quarter of 2018 and onwards. So we're looking for better times in coming year or so.
What is the present sentiments here in Dubai?
You see, in the last 1 year, there has been a little shift of trade, I would say, especially for oil and gas, because the US has become more of an exporter for these two commodities with the shale gas technology coming up there. And also their local conditions have been such that the gas outflow from AG has reduced over last year or two.
And according to you, what is the future buzzword?
Future is we should be dedicated, motivated, and to continue in what we are doing, and be committed. And the way we are going, I think, is the right way.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Captain Sanghera, for talking to Sailor Today TV. Thank you.
Thank you so much.